Hey guys, I'm Samus and you're watching In the Mirror Car Reviews, and today I have a 2023 Genesis GV80 to review for you today. We're going to take a look at the outside, inside, all the creature comforts that the vehicle has to offer, take it for a little test drive and see how it feels on the road. So stay tuned. So about the GV80, well, for now, this is Genesis's flagship SUV from this fantastic upcoming brand called Genesis, right? You can see the crest in the middle and then the wings sparing out there. You have a big old grille and then the two daytime running lights that resemble the wings kind of a little bit. Overall, the silhouette is very beautiful of this vehicle. You have this model right here, which is the 3.5 advanced trim level. Gives you these 20-inch alloy wheels, but it's also optional with the 22s, which look fantastic on it as well. I really love the sleek headlight design that extends over here to the side when you put your blinker on, which is very, very neat. And the same silhouette kind of follows over to the rear end of the car. You still have the two sleek taillights back here. Genesis badging, of course the GV80, and a really neat location to put the trunk release. I kind of wish they still made a little button over here and actually took the windshield wiper and tucked it underneath there, but can't complain for this all too very much. The overall design, a lot of people love it. It's a fantastic looking vehicle. Let's take a look at the trunk over here. So the GV80 is comparable to something like a BMW X5 or maybe even the Audi Q8 a little bit as well. Have really generous room back here. You can fold down the second row seats with the press of a button, or you can fold the centerpiece of the seat independently. A little bit underneath storage area underneath here, which hides your cargo cover, and a spare tire underneath there also. Little aluminum plates over here to not scratch up that plastic piece that many people do. And of course you have your trunk release and locking button as well. Let's take a look at the back seat. Really love this interior. This is vanilla beige with obsidian black dashboard. Gives you this nice lighter wood, which really complements the beige seats and the overall interior of the car. Have some manual sunshades back here, loads of speakers throughout the whole interior as well. Very, very nice design. Some of the creature comforts back here, you have your own independent climate control system, so I can control my own temperature as well as fan speed. You have some USB charging ports down there as well, and a traditional household outlet to charge a laptop on the go. You can also move the passenger seat around a little bit if you need a little extra space back here, which, talking about space, there's plenty of it. Plenty of good headroom, even though there's a dual panoramic sunroof over here. But legroom is very, very good. I can recline the seat if I need to as well. And I have my own little center console over here, which is kind of neat because you have the cup holders, but you can also open up the centerpiece. I don't know, put some M&Ms or Skittles in there. Kind of neat. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a cool little thing. That looks like it has some carbon fiber on there. Maybe just a plastic wrap or something like that, but very neat nevertheless. And from here you can see the overall interior of the car. So this is your driver cabin. Very nice center console, very simple. You have your shifter and dial used to control the 14.5-inch navigation display, your infotainment system. I really love the fact that Genesis separates their climate control, makes it nice and easy to use, and the buttons above the climate control also are shortcuts to everything you're going to use the 14.5-inch infotainment system for. Very, very oriented towards the driver, which is very nice. Makes living with this car very easy. Now I have a 2-spoke steering wheel here as well, with a whole bunch of controls on the right hand side, which is your trip computer and cruise control settings. of course, your Genesis logo and your Bluetooth settings on the left-hand side as well. Now, this model has a semi-digital infotainment display. Still, however, having the 360 cameras has the famous camera that turns on to show you what is in your blind spot on either side of the vehicle, which is very, very neat. I think all cars with these cameras should have that feature in their vehicles as well. Overall, very nice and beautiful interior. Guys, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of the Genesis's interior? And a special thanks to Gettel Hyundai and Genesis of Sarasota for providing me this vehicle today. Alrighty folks, so taking the GV80 for a spin. This has been a very popular vehicle for the Genesis family, probably outselling almost everything until recently, till the GV70 came out, which is a little bit smaller than this particular vehicle. But this has had great success due to the price point that it's at, the warranty that it has to offer, and just the amount of features that you get on the vehicle as well. A 14.5-inch display, very easy to use. Like I mentioned, you have this crystal dial right here that you can use to pretty much change everything on there, and everything's at ergonomically very well laid out, in my personal opinion. The screen's nice and wide. Like I said, you have those physical controls to pretty much get to anything that you need to. Map, navigation, radio. You can program this to do Apple CarPlay, which unfortunately is a wired CarPlay system, so you do have to plug your phone in. But you got a wireless phone charger there, some extra storage here underneath the whole center console area. Look at that. The car lets you know that the leading vehicle is driving away. Instead of having an angry person right behind you, honking at you to get a move on, the car lets you know before they do. So Genesis strives for comfort and safety. That's kind of their biggest thing right now. So you can turn on all these safety features. There's a lane following assist feature right here that you can enable separately from a lane keep assist feature, which stays on. What this does, it centers your car in the middle of the road, and it does a very good job of just keeping you centered in your lane. If you do any unnecessary lane changes without using an indicator, yeah, the car will eventually let you know, like try to pull you back and beep at you and all that kind of fun stuff. There you can also see that there's somebody in our blind spot, which is very neat, and it may be a little difficult to tell on the camera, but I have a heads-up display which showed me that information there as well, which is very neat, because blind spot accidents are very common. A lot of people tend to not look to the side of them or anything like that. So you have a blind spot confirmation right there. You have it in the heads-up display. You have a red triangle in the corner of the mirror, and you also have this fantastic camera that turns on when you put your blinker on. So lots of different warnings, which is very, very good. Forward collision that actually activated there as the car was making a right-hand turn. That happens very often. As a human being, you can kind of time things like that, but the car doesn't think that way. The car thinks that that car is moving slowly and you are moving quickly, and you might do a little boom. So the car gave me a pre-collision warning system. It would tighten up the seat belt if it thought that we would actually crash into that vehicle, and if it needed to, it would slam on the brakes. So overall, the touch feel of everything, the steering wheel is nice and thick. I do like the two-spoke design, which means you can place your hand underneath here. There's plenty of room where you can really get your hands comfortable on the steering wheel. It's also heated, a two-stage heated steering wheel, as your seats are cooled and heated as well, which is very nice to have. So we are driving the 3.5 liter twin-turbo V6. This vehicle makes just around 375 horsepower and about 380 foot-pounds of torque. After driving the 3.3 in the Genesis G70 and the 3.5 in the G80 and the GV80 and the GV70, one conclusion that I can make, and this is kind of an analogy that I like to use, is this, the 3.3 twin-turbo V6, yes, it's less on power, but it feels very, the way it delivers power, it's very different from this particular engine. This technically makes more power and more torque and whatever. However, that engine feels like somebody that just drank 4 Red Bulls and it's all kicking in at once. This, on the other hand, is kind of like a gentleman in a suit having an espresso. This has plenty of power, plenty of torque, but the power delivery is very smooth. It doesn't really punch you in the face, whereas the 3.3 just keeps on wanting to go. So you're not going to have that sporty sense in this car. This car is meant for pure luxury, pure comfort, and all this intuitiveness that you have throughout the whole cabin. Gotta love those cameras. Super useful, super helpful. You can see if there's a cyclist next to you, a motorcycle if you're changing lanes. Of course, it would beep at you and even steer you away if you are trying to merge into a different lane while there's somebody in your blind spot. Very helpful. Yeah, good power, progressive power, but like I say, it doesn't really feel like it just wants to keep on going. It's gonna have the power, you know, but I feel like this engine is a little lazier, not in a bad way. It's responsive, it does everything that it needs to do. It just doesn't feel like it just wants to keep on pulling and pulling, whereas the 3.3, it's a very eager engine to go. A few more things to mention. All the touch points. I mean, the seat's super comfortable. It's a little bit more, the padding's harder, which in my opinion feels better, especially on longer trips. You don't feel very static in the seat. If you do, you can turn on that ergo motion seat that I talked about a little bit earlier. Just the overall layout of the interior is really the big plus. The infotainment and navigation system, that's right all at your eye level, which is very easy and clear to use. You have physical buttons to get to shortcuts of everything. The voice command system, it's not fantastic, but it does the job. The dial is very easy to use. You can twist it, rotate it, and you can also push it left, up, down, and right. Very similar to Audi's MMI and BMW iDrive systems. You have back, home, and menu to access all the other menus you might need to in the vehicle, and a very interesting volume and tune knob. Very cool. I like the shifter. A lot of people say negative things as thinking that the shifter and the controller here for the navigation system, infotainment system, gets a little confusing, but I would disagree. It's just very small things that are being nitpicked, I think, at that point in time. Not a big deal. Also, one of the coolest things that this car has, and I love this in particular, it's called Sounds of Nature. So you can listen to a forest. A sailing ship. A city in the morning. My personal favorite, experience the universe. And let's just take a moment to enjoy the silence and just the overall ride quality of the GV80. yeah, I can certainly tell you this is a very plush and comfortable ride. Quiet. It feels very stable under bumps. It doesn't feel firm like some of the German competition. You can feel that you hit a bump, but it's still comfortable. Germans do a very good job at doing the dampening in their suspension. This is a little bit more floaty, and if you prefer that type of, I guess, an American type of a luxury, where it's a little more floaty, a little bit like that bump right there, I could barely feel it. I mean, I can hear it just a little bit, the noise, vibration, you can hear some of that, but on the other hand, it's very, very comfortable. Very quiet, loads of space. You feel very tall in the car, which a lot of people getting an SUV want that like dominant driving position, which this car certainly has to offer. A few things to also note. I love some of the features that this car comes standard with. Every single safety feature that I showed in this car is standard on all the models. You have an auto hold system which holds the brake for you. Very intuitive, and what I like about the Genesis, that if you press it once, it stays on forever until you want to disable it. You don't have to turn it on every single trip. The camera. That is just a fantastic feature to have. Everybody should have this feature. If you're utilizing 360 cameras in the car, and just the overall layout of the vehicle. I mean, the placement of the infotainment system. It is still a touch screen if you are having difficulty using the dial over here to control it, which is fantastic, because people will have difficulties using this. It's okay, it happens to all of us. Having the shortcut buttons to get into every single menu that you would ever use in the screen is very, very helpful. Your climate control is separated from the infotainment system. So even if your screen goes bad, which I've heard horror stories of other vehicles, with everything embedded in the touchscreen, your touchscreen goes out, you can't use your climate control. Here, it doesn't really matter. Even if something does happen to this, you still have your independent layout for your climate control system. It's all very simple and easy to use. And that's what a lot of people are looking for nowadays. Ease of use with all the technology, comfort, all the convenience features that this has to offer, and it still has plenty good power. I still think the 4-cylinder variant with 300 horsepower will still the most, because it is a plenty powerful engine for the majority of everybody. However, the 3.5 is what a lot of people are going to want to experience as well. So guys, let's jump to the conclusion of the Genesis GV80. Alright guys, so what can I say overall about the Genesis GV80? Well, being a sales associate here for Hyundai and Genesis, we've seen a lot of attention for this vehicle, especially when it first came out. Everybody wanted that different type of a luxury vehicle, another offering in this kind of a basic, I think, segment right now. I mean, you have a lot of different options, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, but that's your typical choice. And Genesis is coming out with a bang with this brand new design, this very sleek look, fantastic engineering through and through in the whole vehicle, and the layout being simple, having a simplified options list on pretty much anything that you may want to pick and choose from. There's always an option for something. Safety features being standard on every single trim level. So there's just a lot of good stuff to say about this, and America's best warranty. So to conclude, I really like this car. A lot of people like this vehicle as well, and it's going to be a great option for most of you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like down below, comment what you think of the Genesis GV80, and I'd really highly appreciate if you were to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot more of these videos coming out soon. Thank you so much. Take care.